bottom, all those grand final losses. ...
Yeah, I'm sure they can. I'm sure they can.
Console themselves
with all those grand final wins.
Yes, they can. So, the time has come, the Walrus said, to talk of other things.
Oh dear.
Over at Wakefield on Sunday afternoon, I'm pretty sure this means that the world's ending in 7 days, doesn't it? When the four horsemen of the apocalypse ride into town. Wakefield Trinity Wildcats 62, Wigan Warriors 0 in front of 5,751 people. Were you in attendance? Because this is the surprise result of the season.
If not
the last 4 or 5 years.
The extent of it is the surprise. It's a shame more people wasn't at Salford or Wakefield to see the home sides win out in these exciting...
I'm not sure how many more you can fit in at Bellevue.
Glorious wins for their sides. I'm sure you could fit a couple more thousand in. Well, I mean...
Are you just going to be contrary throughout this entire thing? Because your team's had a shitter for the first time in ages.
Oh, no. Well, not for the first time in ages. We haven't played well all season, bar the Leeds and the Saints game. Yeah, but this is something else. Yeah, I mean... I didn't go, no. I was going to go, but then I got reminded that I was supposed to be having a family meal because my sister is off to America shortly for good, I suppose. Or that's the plan.
Okay.
So spend some family time with Sophie before she goes, and that made me miss out on this. It didn't make me any less angry when I was following it, like the snippets I was able to catch on radio in between other duties and following it on Twitter. My phone took the brunt of it, I think. But
how much of this do you say is just one of those fluke one-off things that happens, and how much of it is indicative of kind of like a downturn in Wigan's general standards?
Well, the stars aligned for Wakefield in that this is a team high on confidence, willing to try almost anything, playing against a team that was low on numbers, low on experience, low on fitness levels by all accounts because of the viral bug that had been going through Wigan, which prevented any training on the Thursday and the Friday. These aren't excuses.
These are facts rather than
Chris Fadlinski's done a bit today to sort of explain to Wigan fans, like, don't go fucking losing your shit over this. It was bad. We know it was bad. We played against a Wakefield side playing good, and we were not in any shape to play that game. But that doesn't explain the scoreline.
No.
To be perfectly honest, we had Hull KR at Argath in similarly bad shape, and they didn't capitulate like this.
No.
So you've got to throw credit to Wakefield for how they were able to, put the foot on the neck and press and really see it to this woeful Wigan display. Wakefield scored some cracking tries. They scored some easy tries. They scored some cracking tries.
Like Jacob Miller's first try.
A lot of that was from them just having just chancing it and backing themselves with the confidence that they've got from some of the long range tries they have been scoring recently anyway.
The thing I liked about Jacob Miller's first try actually was the part that Tom Johnston played in it.
Yeah.
His kind of we've talked about it before, but the balance and kind of glide that he's got, even over 2 or 3 steps before he offloaded the ball, was sufficient to avoid the tackle, and it set the whole try up. I think he's a phenomenal player.
Oh yeah, one that would not look out of place in Cherry and White in my view, but.
Well, he would have done on Sunday.
We'll see if...
what with his tries?
As the week went on, it became more apparent that we were probably going to lose this game,
right.
Based on all the factors that we've discussed. But there's no excuse for this.
Yeah.
And
it's the magnitude of the defeat.
I think it's maybe not a one-off in terms of it could happen again this week very well, but it's nothing to get too bent out of shape about, because look at Hull FC. They got battered by Widnes and then they've won 5 in a row since.
Yeah.
Or is it 4 in a row? 4 or 5 in a row?
5 now.
Including wins over
the local rivals and
Warrington at the top of the league in that run.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not the end of the world. It's only April, but for Wakefield, absolutely incredible story. Is that 4 in a row?
Yeah. I'd love to know, and I'm glad now. Well, I'm not sure if anyone. I thought someone might ask this. When the last time Wakefield won 4 in a row was?
It would probably be the Great Escape year, would it? 2008.
But they were shit that year, though. Still, would they have won 4 in a row?
To get to that point of having the chance to stay up,
possibly so.
Yeah, or there was the playoff year where Jeffries and Solomona played well.
Course. Yeah.
Was that 2006, 2007, maybe?
Yeah, that might have been it.
Yeah.
But a long time ago. But yeah, no. Look, for Wakefield fans, this is the sort of thing you remember till the day you die, innit?
Yeah, and for the players as well.
Yeah, of course. Tremendous achievement to beat a team that's still, littered with international calibre players.
Yeah, look, if Wigan had lost this in a close game that came down to a bit of game fitness and knowing each other's game and playing the sort of and maybe a bit of leadership around, like, you've got players like Scott Moore and Liam Finn and people like that who know who might have some nous to close things off, and Wigan had a lot of young players. If that was the case, then you could start talking about the injuries as being a factor, but it's not a factor when it's 62-0. This is all about Wakefield absolutely taking advantage of a Wigan team that weren't ready to go up against them.
Yeah,
so well done to Wakefield.
So what do the numbers tell us then?
11 tries off 12 breaks and 1,522 metres. That was nearly twice as many metres as Wigan could manage. Wigan managed 770 something or some crap figure like that. Also, they made fewer errors, had a better team tackle success by 5%, a remarkable 97% overall, and 78 more carries. They still, even with 78 more carries, they still had a 1.3 metre per carry better average gain. The day belonged to Wakefield.
Yeah, fair play.
Jacob Miller, 3 tries, 2 try assists, 175 metres.
Incredible running metres for a half-back, that, isn't it?
Max Jowett with a try and 176 metres. Ben Jones Bishop with a try assist, 124 metres, 3 clean breaks. Joe Arundel, 2 try assists, 158 metres, 3 clean breaks. For Wigan, Dan Sargent, 112 metres, made the most ground for Wigan. That is what, like 1/7 of the whole Wigan's ability to make metres.
It is.
Sam Powell with 41 tackles. Willie Isa, he was one of the players who probably wouldn't have played had there been so few available. He still came through with 45 tackles though, so credit to the effort he came on. He was one of the ones that suffered with the sickness and is carrying a bit of a knee knock as well.
There you go.
So things can only get better for Wigan and for Wakefield. This is
long way to continue.
Impressive away time, isn't it?
Absolutely good for them. Okay, so Cutthroat J got in touch. He said, "What a score! Suddenly our defeat," he means Leeds, "our defeat to Wakefield over Easter doesn't seem so bad. In the past, people have been calling out for lesser teams to do well, and we seem to be getting that. What a season this is turning out to be." Tom Eckley simply put, "What the fuck happened there?" Diana LBW even more simply put, "Ha ha 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 ha! What a weekend to be a Saints fan." Franny, who I've not heard of before, so I'm going to assume it's Franny Cummins, got in touch. What motorway is it they have to take back to Wigan? Oh yeah, it's the 62. Ha ha ha! What a day! No excuses from Wigan, as they still had a lot of their star players out there. Our defence was unbelievable all game. We 100% deserved that score. Chris Chester's Barmy Army, Wakey till I die.
Right. Okay. So
I can assume
hold on,
that now Franny's going to be a one-time listener because you're about to rip him into bits.
No. 100% deserved that score, 100% deserved that win. Brilliant from Wakefield. His statement that we still had a lot of our star players out there is not at all on the level, is it? Let's face it.
No, that's true, you were missing a lot of players.
Our biggest salary cap hit player, probably the highest paid player in the league, I would guess, in Sam Tompkins, has still not been available this year.
Yep.
First choice hooker, young player of the year last year in Super League wasn't available. Captain wasn't available. Best forward this year, John Bateman, wasn't available. Best outside back this year, Don Manfredi, wasn't available. And probably the only creative player who can do something special that we've had all year, really, in Anthony Gelling, wasn't available. So I would say all of our star players
Who's got some George Williams
weren't available, But
and McLaurin.
But McLaurin wasn't playing that great, I don't think. So I don't class him in that star bracket.
I really like McLaurin.
No, I think he's great, but I don't think. Put him in there. But
he's the best hooker at the club,
and this isn't an excuse. He's the only fucking hooker at the club who's over 18 or over 19. But that isn't to say that they didn't 100% deserve it, but let's get our ducks in a row.
Balanced.
It wasn't. We didn't have any of our star players out there. We had a halfback who's demonstrated more and more that his inability to lead a side is woeful. I mean, I think Matty Smith can play in certain conditions really well. Has won a Lance Todd, has won a double, the longer he plays under Sean Wayne, the worse a player he's going to continue to become. It just feels like he's losing any sort of instinctive play. When he was at Salford, and even when he had that spell just before he signed permanent for Salford, when he came back into the Saints side for the playoff run in 2010, he demonstrated ability to be a backs against the wall player that he has not demonstrated as a Wigan player. That's just the way it is.
Do you think his game management loses something when he hasn't got a creative outlet to get the ball?
Yes,
I think he looked better. I think the best I've ever seen him playing a Wigan shirt was when he's had Blake Green next to him, and he's kind of
had Sam Tompkins out the back.
Exactly,
well,
and they've just had he's had more options. With limited options, he doesn't seem to kind of know where he's putting the ball, and that could just be because he's got limited options and he's struggling to put the ball somewhere where it's going to be used effectively.
When he has options around him and people to tie up other defenders or make questions be asked, he can. Because he can do well. He's played well in games for England. He's won games for England. He's had important inputs in lots of in big games, but the longer he plays under Sean Wayne and the more he's expected to be the senior halfback, the more his career is on a downward spiral.
Yeah, he's definitely not the player he was. No. Or he's not playing as well as he did a year ago.
He's not playing as well as he did 2 years ago. He hasn't played well for a long time.
I'll give you that.
Apart from in the game at DW in the New Zealand series.
And he won. And do you know what? And I hold my hands up to Matty Smith because I walked to that stadium fucking slagging him off, and he won that game for us. Or certainly contributed an enormous amount to it. Okay, Dr. Bob Phillips said, after a day of grumpy, I hate rugby, won't ever listen, watch, go again. The Wakefield Trinity Wildcats have brightened my day. After all, we all enjoy Wigan losing, don't we? Brian Davies, superb display by Trin, very professional, and they stuck to the game plan without getting sloppy when the win was guaranteed. To score 40 points in the second half and not concede is exceptional for us. Some wonderful rugby built on the back of good defence and solid work to clear our lines. Very exciting times.
Yeah, Wigan were forced into errors in attacking positions by Wakefield closing down options.
In some respects, I think the more important number in this scoreline is the 0 and the 62 because I
don't know about that. If it was like 30-0, maybe, but 62 is such a statement number.
Oh, absolutely, but also
this is a side that was on the end of an 80-0 last year.
Yeah, but their defensive performance is what everything else will get built on.
I don't know how much they had to defend consistently throughout the game. I think Wigan's energy levels were less than zero in the second half.
But you always raise an eyebrow when a team gets nilled, don't you? So
we did a bit of a
always says something.
I did a bit of a digging around about nillings after this game because a few people asked me a few questions. So check out our Twitter timeline, and there's a picture up there of a table of all Super League nillings basically, and the sides that have been nilled the most are Salford and London tied with 11, and Castleford had 10.
Wow.
The teams that have nilled their opposition the most: St Helens with 21, Wigan with 19, Leeds with 10.
Right.
And I also found out there's been 13 rounds in Super League history where there's been 2 nillings in the same round, which is quite impressive. 3% of all Super League games has seen a side nilled.
That's quite a high number, isn't it? I thought it'd be lower than that. That's interesting stuff.
Maybe it's 0.3% then.
Say 3%.
Might be 0.3%. I don't know. I can't remember now.
Well, either way,
there's been 108 nillings anyway in Super League history.
I suspect that's probably 0.3. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Three seemed like a high number, is all I'm saying. Okay, so moving on to the final game of the weekend then. Only kidding, Wakey White. You also got in touch. I wouldn't do that to you, but after Mark had the temerity to stay in Barcelona for an extra day.
Wakey White now, does it? They're winning every week.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Wakey White got in touch. Pretty easy, this Super League business. Best win I've seen at Bellevue during the last 15 years or more. Unbelievable stuff from Wakey. Backs and forwards getting in on the act. Who next for the Wakey steamroller? Every credit. You've got some. Have you done some number crunching?
Well, do you reckon 3,600 is a reasonable number for the total amount of Super League games that's been played
It probably is, isn't it?
So 3%.
3%. Wow. Yeah. Okay. Right. So the final game of the weekend saw the Wigan Vikings take on the Castleford